Hello, black man. This guided journal is being made available to build character, confidence, and define the inner person.
It has been deemed clear that our culture and our past has hindered black men from being open and vulnerable. Hello, black man.
Hello, black man.
Yo, check this out. I received this in the mail, right? Hello, black man. And I'm so excited about it. This is a journal to help black men articulate their feelings, express their feelings. Hell, just acknowledge that we have them in a safe and honest way. And hopefully, it will translate into other parts of your life. I get it. As a black man, a lot of us weren't encouraged or taught to talk about our feelings. As a kid, when you fail and hurt yourself, your parents told you to get up. You're a big boy. Big boys don't cry. That right there is a hard lesson to unlearn, and it's very hurtful. Because when we become older, we don't know how to express ourselves. We don't know how to talk about our feelings. We don't know how to have a conversation without lashing out or using profanity or getting upset and becoming violent because we weren't taught. But this, man, is essential, not just to each one of us becoming a better person, but a society of men being able to express themselves is priceless. So if you want to become the best version of you that you can do, check out helloblackman.com. Grab the journal, actually journal in it, be honest, be open, and be accessible to your feelings and embrace them.
Yo, what's going on? This is Hello Black Man in the building.
He's so black.
Please start that, man. Every time we go,
Right.
why you gotta have the light so close to you?
I want people to see me.
They can see you.
People like, oh, you're a spot in the dark.
Ain't nobody thinking that.
I feel like it.
Nobody's thinking that.
Okay, go ahead.
She got a big light on her
I'm
side.
here.
She got a light.
I don't even know what we're doing tonight. Why are we here?
We're here because hold on, we got some gear on tonight. Okay. Merch on tonight. We got merch in the building. That's right. And listen, this is something that we call Win my friend, and it has been a phenomenal watching it grow. Right. This is something that I feel like I have. Right. I got an old head. Man. I'm an old head for real though. You don't see that great hair? So, they don't count for nothing.
I want to let him discuss what old head means because I can't really say.
You can't really say
if you're old headed.
So I need to be vetted.
But I think everybody's mindset of what an old head is different.
Okay, I see that.
You know.
So anybody,
and it also depends on what you're talking about.
That's true.
So it's like,
but I think I can talk about anything. Okay, listen. One of Willie D's nephews bypassed me and was speaking, like, said, hey, what's going on? And he said, what's up, old school? I was like,
old school and head to the
it is. But the fact he said it, I was like,
made you feel some type of
who he talking to? What made him say it to me? Like, why he said it to me? I didn't understand why he said it to me.
Why you grabbing me?
Because I was feeling upset. I was like,
real young to me.
I said, man, hey, listen, man, we got our friends all the way, and I know they probably get tired of hearing people say from the land down under. They oh Lord, y'all please stop saying it. Well, I gotta say it anyway. It's so cliche. I gotta say it. From the land down under, we have Mr. Ricky Tillman and Malik from Old Heads Mindset in the building tonight.
Yeah.
Don't do
it. We gotta get some sound effects from him.
That's how it sounds.
Hey, I love you guys. You guys are awesome.
We love y'all too. Thank y'all for joining us tonight, all the way from Australia. People don't think we wear white.
Right now. We're white.
Now we get Africa, Asia.
We're gonna knock the continent.
We gotta knock the continent.
But right now we're in Australia.
Yeah, and that means anything you could ever imagine. What time is it there?
9:30 a.m.
A.m.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we
Oh, you know how I know that? Because I asked.
All right.
This is 9:30 a.m. on what day?
It's 9:30 a.m. on a Wednesday morning.
Tuesday.
Okay, so Wednesday morning, 9
And when I'm done here, I'm gonna shoot off and go to work.
You gotta go to work. Okay, well, we won't hold you long. We don't want to. And
No, that's fine. I work for myself, so I'm good to go. I can go.
Okay.
I'll be okay with the boss.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So listen, introduce yourself. Introduce yourself. Tell our viewers who you are. Tell us about your podcast and who you have with you.
Okay, so my name is Ricky Tillman. This is my son Malik, and we are Old Head Mindset Podcast. And our podcast is dedicated to self-help, self-development. And we try to target the youth, but it's for everyone. And so what we do, we just sit down and have a conversation about the things that we learned and what we know, and try to share it with our public. And what you were saying earlier, someone calling you old head. Old head is just someone who's wiser. And you don't have to be old to be wise. You can be a young mind and still be wise. So like this young man, he's sometimes I think he's more wiser than I am. And so I like to pluck his brain. And that's one of the things we do. We pluck each other's brain and we share it to the public.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome to have. Listen, when you can communicate directly and get something from those younger generations, it keeps you young. Like it keeps you like kind of up to speed on what's going on and how they think, because each generation has its own way of thinking, own way of together. You're like, really? You really think like that? You know, it's just always a surprise. You know what I'm saying? When you can have a conversation with somebody. So I think that's absolutely dope.
Well, you know what? That is one of my struggles right there, because I am an old head and I tend to think, hey, I know what I'm talking about, but hey, this guy right here, he's set me straight up many a time, and I have to sort of go with the flow sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you know when to back it up. Sometimes you step it up. So
Listen,
he's taught me a lot.
Yeah, being on that passenger seat sometimes is scary, right? You know, allowing a younger generation to this kind of lead. You're like, okay, well, you know, not so bad. I don't have to make all the decisions. I ain't got to have the whole weight of the world on me. This young man is younger, more, you know, vibrant, you know, thinking quickly and, you know, sharp. And but it's also kind of scary because now you're in the passenger seat. So you're like, okay, like what is he really thinking?
And you're in the passenger seat and somebody's playing on their phone.
that helps. Sometimes it
does not help
it helps
at all.
If
I'm like, just pull over, I'll drive.
That's it. Now, one of the things we like to talk about is communication. And when I first came to Australia some 33 years ago, one of the first things I noticed is I remember sitting riding in a car with an Australian man. He had his two daughters in the car, and the way he spoke to them, they were like 9 and 10 years old. The way he spoke to them was in a different fashion than what I was used to. You know, in our day, we was told to shut up and stay out of adult conversation, be quiet, don't just mind your business.
That's the rundown.
But what I picked up from him was he conversed with them in a way that I just said, hey, when I have kids, I want to speak to them like that. I want them to be able to speak their mind in a respectful way. So what we've done, we built a relationship over time, and my other son is we converse back and forth all the time. It started where we would do it in the vehicle. I pick him up and we would drive for hours and we would just converse. So we built that up to a point that we can now have a podcast together. But going back to that story of the guy speaking to his children, it's just something that I feel that it's very important that we have good communication. For our kids, as that an example, to build social skills, it's important. When you allow them to speak and be themselves, they grow to become young adults who are able to speak on their own and stand up on their own and back themselves. So communication is key. Now, they've said communication is key to survival. So if you can't speak, it's hard to survive. But also, good communication, being able to speak well, is key to success.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things I tell him is that communication is very important. When it comes to kids, they have to be able to articulate their thoughts. So how do you develop that? We develop that sort of stuff in the household. So when we are shutting our kids down, it's hard for them
You stopping their growth.
stopping their growth. So
Wow.
social skills is important. So that's the importance of communication. So how do you feel about that, Malik?
So
Come on with it, Malik.
yeah, from the young person's perspective, if a child needs connection with the tradition of his culture, with all the experience of which the older generations have found, because without that experience, a young person has to just find it all out on their own when they could
Yeah.
just talk to someone who's been through it. But more than that, if young people aren't constantly updated with the correct mindset to how to go about life, they're going to fill it in with say pop songs or lessons that they hear from very vain areas of society.
They're going to pick it up from somewhere.
Yeah. So this is my big thing is that young people today are very disenfranchised with wisdom.
Yeah, another important part of that is communication is the words that we use, right? We have to be very careful about the words that we use with our children. And not only that, the more important bit, the words that we use with ourselves. So it doesn't matter what someone else is saying to you as much as what you're saying to yourself. So communicating with yourself is also important. We tend to sometimes want to beat ourselves up when we, especially if you're, say, an entrepreneur and you want to chase your dream. You want to hurry up and get there, but it just doesn't work that way. You have to. It takes time, and so you can find yourself saying negative things to yourself and beating yourself up. And you have to be careful with the words you use on a day-to-day basis. So, I think they say you have to protect your mind. Be careful of the words you're using. So that's important.
You talking directly to me now.
Yes. You are a negative Nancy.
Hold on, maybe
in your mind. But what I want to ask you, Malik, as a young man, who is your conscious voice? Like when you are talking to yourself, because we all talk to ourselves, who do you hear in your head?
Well, I tend to gravitate towards a very negative way of talking to myself, and that comes from me being very critical and me being very worried about doing things wrong. I do have a deep passion for wanting to succeed in life, and that passion can leak over into fear.
Right.
And so it requires that I talk to my dad and talk to people wiser than me to keep me on track and in perspective. Because it's kind of like when you're a racehorse and they have the blinders on and you go. You need someone to take those blinders off to give you the wider context as to more to life than the path that you're on. So over time, to be truthful with you, I've trained myself to be very critical. But now I'm training myself to have a more broader way of talking to myself and making that conscious voice that talks to me a little bit wiser than it was before.
Specifically, whose voice do you hear? Yours, your dad's, your mom's? I hear Claire Huxtable myself. Whose voice do you hear when they're talking to you?
I think it would be mine. I think it would be my voice.
There's no bad answer here. Like I'm just saying, like when I talk to myself, it's normally Claire Huxtable.
Okay. Where did that come from?
What about you, Mr. Ricky? Whose voice do you hear in your mind? Like who is your parenting voice? Like who is talking to you when you're trying to make a good decision?
Oh man, that's a good question because I've never really thought about it. I know there's voices that speak to me. I like to think that my ancestors, my grandmother, might be my grandmother, my dad, and my mom. There's people. Sometimes if it's a negative thing, I think it's me. I think
Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
men.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Who you think come to me?
and
Go
no.
ahead.
So yeah, I don't know. It is voices speaking to you, and you have to be careful because we all fall into that trap of
We do. Negativity.
somewhat negativity.
Mhm.
And if you don't pay attention to it, it'll get on top of you. And
will.
you know, because everything matters, right? The music that we listen to, the books that we read, the people you have around you, all that matters. So if you have,
Facts.
for example, if Malik is listening to let's say hardcore rap music all the time, and I'm listening to something that's positive, I'm gonna more likely have a better day throughout the week because of the food that's going in my mind. And if I'm reading a certain type of book and it's helping me to develop over time, I'm probably going to be a little bit more ahead of the game than someone who's not reading any books at all. And so that's one of the things, me being from Mississippi and growing up in Mississippi, as we know, our educational system is one of my struggles. I never liked reading books growing up. And so throughout my life, it's sort of come back to bite me because the books that you read is also helping to shape and develop you as a person. And that's one thing I would say to the youth. When you finish school, that's when you start to learn. You have to continue to learn, right? It's a lot of us, once we throw that robe off and everything in the air, we done. No, it's time to continue to learn and grow, develop. So there's so many things that we can do to continue to learn and develop. And reading books is key to that. If it's something you need in life, it's in a book. So as I struggled early on in my life reading a book, I pick up a book and it might take me 6 months to read a book because of my poor reading skills. But over time, you get better at it and you develop. So now it might take me a week, where somebody, it might take them a day. But I'm happy with the week because my reading skill has developed. And so that's important. Reading, writing, learning to write down goals, setting goals is important in life. If you got a goal, write them down. And it's an art to that too. So when you're writing down goals, you got to learn how to tick those things off and prioritize them from short term to long term. So that's important. And also,
that is facts.
Sorry?
I said that is facts.
That's it. And so when you learn how to write your goals down, and another thing to add to the equation is sit down and pray for your opportunities and follow that up with meditation so you can stay focused. So those are the things I try to do. Continue to learn. I'm 53 years old and I have a growth, I believe I have a growth mindset. And that's what we talk about on Old Head Mindset. It's the growth, having a growth mindset, continuing to grow and become. Because there was somebody that said, if you can have more in life, if you're willing to learn more and become more in life. So if you want to chase your dream, you have to become that person it would take to achieve that dream. You can't just be the same person. So that's another thing I tell Malik. And what we talk about is always see, another thing I like to say, always do more than what they pay you for, right? So I live my life like that. So I always give more than what people expect of me. So some people might say, no, I'm not going to do any more than that because they don't pay me enough. My mentality is always do more than what they pay you. Because what that'll do for you, it'll build your value. And the more you do that, the more your value goes up. So Malik, what do you feel about that?
Yeah.
I'll be bombarding them. I'll be telling, I'll be on to him. And sometimes it gets to the point where he say, hey, Dad, back it up. And I have to listen. I remember one time I was being so, not aggressive, but I was just constantly telling him things that I wanted him to know. He got fed up and told me.
Yeah.
Complained to his mother about me. Hurt my feelings.
Wow.
Hurt my feelings. I said, okay, well, but at the same time, I had to learn to listen to him. And this is another thing that parents might struggle with. When a kid gets to a certain age, you have to learn to listen to what they want and what they expect. And that's gonna be a struggle for parents.
What would you say that age is?
Well, he got into me around what?
About 13, 14.
13, 14. Now I let him get away with it the first time.
Yeah.
And,
no,
but yeah,
so, we don't have a lot of interaction with the younger. We need to really connect with more of like that's not right on us. Like, what do you feel, was a barrier for you to overcome in order for one, you guys to get where you are today, and two, for you to realize what your father was telling you was something that was invaluable for you to get to where you are today?
So for me, it's all about balance. Like a young mind can only take so much, and also there's the conflict between when you are a young mind, you feel as if you know it all, because all you know is all you know, and you think that all you know is all there is to know, and so there's always a battle between what you think you know and then what you're being told. But luckily for me, even from a young age, I was very inquisitive and always wanted to know new things and so on. So that's important as well. But there is a time where I do believe where you have to kind of let a child use their mindset, whatever it is, if it's bad, if it's good, so they can learn that it doesn't work. So there needs to be a balance between teaching and testing. Teach the mindset and go out there and test it and see if it works for you.
Wow.
There's the biblical story, prodigal son, is about that, about like go out into the world and see if what you have is going to work for you, and I guarantee you'll come back. That's the idea. And but if yep.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say sometimes you might find that you do go out into the world and you put yourself out there. That's a skill that everyone needs to have. I don't think it's good for a child or a person to constantly be at the whim of what other people tell them to do. Like, you need to have your own inner will, your own kind of voice. So there's a balance. There's a balance between testing whether or not your theory about the world was right and going out there and just putting yourself out there and being who you are.
Yeah, that was one of the things that drove him insane when I told him, I said, you don't have the experience. And man, he did not want to hear that. That was like me slapping him in the face. So you don't have the experience. And I also said that you haven't been tested. He didn't like that either, because he was in that mindset of what he just said, that he knows what he knows. What do you mean I haven't been tested? You don't know anything about what I'm going through. You don't know my experience. So he took great offense to that. But it wasn't long after that life started testing. As you get older, and life comes at you even more and more. So and then throw in some ambitions and some dreams, and now you're really complicating it, because so those are and he's an entrepreneur, and so he's feeling it now, or that entrepreneurial challenges. And I try to tell him what I'm still trying to learn as well, is that if you want your business to improve, you have to improve. So whatever you're doing in life, is that it depends on your skill set and how you develop yourself. So if you want to become what you want to become, you have to become that person. You have to get the skills that's required to do that. Then you can achieve the things you want in life. And that's what it's a struggle. It's a nightmare. But those are the things you have to do to get where you want to be. And so he's learning that. Yeah, he didn't like that idea of no experience.
Listen, I'm not gonna hold it here all night, because I do have questions. Like my juices are flowing, the creativity. Like, y'all gotta get me on your show so I can ask all the questions. But
no, you go right ahead. I'm enjoying this. More questions.
You said something earlier about teaching our children, because like, so we're raising a different generation from ourselves. We're trying to put them further than we are or where we have been, right? So we're trying to give them the tools that were not afforded to us when we were growing up, because we know more now, right? So it can come off as both a gift and a curse to me. Because like what you said was like, we want them to be able to stand. And I made a post the other day about creating a safe space for parents to vent about stuff that makes their children, that their children do that make you crazy. Like my children do stuff and I'm like, what the is wrong with you? Like that's how I am. So like I am trying to figure out like what is the place, because I do want my children to be able to stand up for themselves, but I don't want them to be able to stand up to me. Like, where is the thin line?
Don't use it against me.
Right. I want you to be able,
but don't have it here.
Like, but you're not gonna stand up to me. I'm not telling you to be strong enough to stand up to me. I'm giving you
everybody else.
So like, what do you think there is a thin line? And like, how do you raise your children to be strong-minded, strong-willed, but also respect people that they're supposed to respect?
No answer. No.
Well, here's the deal.
I'm with you there.
I
don't know.
How do we give y'all that courage to be strong individuals, but still understand that we are here for your benefit as your parents? Like, what is the line there?
I think you probably can answer this better than me, but I want to say, give a man a fish, that sort of thing, or teach him how to fish. So it's best. I don't subscribe to the I'm gonna give my kids everything I never had in life. I don't do it. I don't subscribe to that. But
that's bad.
Yeah, I hear it a lot. I want my kids to have everything I never had. That is not my philosophy. My philosophy is I want to, if I didn't have it, I want to, and if I have it, I want to teach them how to get it. Because once you hand something over to someone, if they don't have the mindset or the ability to cope with that and deal with that, they're not gonna, first of all, not gonna appreciate it, and they're not gonna keep it. So this is a cycle that we go to when back in the day when we used to struggle a lot in slavery and stuff, and people had to fight their way up to get to where we are today. So those people were really hard at working hard. Then it made it easier for the generation under them, but they didn't have the skill set to maintain that. So what happened? We go backwards. It's like a roller coaster, up and down. So we have to be able to teach your kids to do better. Don't just give them better. I mean, if they get it, they get it. But it's best to teach them and show them and lead them. So how do you feel about that, Malik?
So what comes to me is you're struggling to find the line between pain and pleasure, or pain and reward. And what comes to me is where that line is you don't want to deprive a child. From me recently being a child, you don't want to deprive a child of the pain that they normally would feel if you weren't there. Meaning that, so for example, if they have a voice and you want to nurture that voice so that they can stand up for themselves, you don't want to raise a child that doesn't have a voice, because if they get in front of a bully at school, they're going to suffer. But if their voice is too high, are they going to carry that over into the workplace when they're in their 20s? So the idea is that the pain, like you have to give them pain, but only enough pain that is necessary for them to thrive. Wow. Because if you don't give them the pain of discipline, as in like don't disrespect me, they're gonna not learn that, and they're gonna disrespect their boss, they're gonna disrespect their landlord, and so on in the future. But if you don't give them the voice of you need to stand up for yourself when people cross you, then they're going to let bullies cross them. They're going to let their boss walk over them. So only when they cross the line of what would hurt them in real life, once they're older and on their feet, is where you draw the line, to me. Because when I was a kid, it would annoy me when I got disciplined for something that I felt was like unfair. Or I felt as if, like, if I got told off for no reason at all, not just by dad, but by teachers or whoever, if I got told off with no justification, no reason at all, that doesn't work, because no lesson is being learned, just reprimanded. They're just being reprimanded. So for me, I needed to it's always good to give discipline with a lesson. So even if I don't respect it, I don't care, later on down the line, maybe years down the line, I'll think about that time where I got reprimanded and told why. Such as what would happen with Dad when he said that you haven't been tested. I didn't understand it, and then years later I understood it. But that's a little side point. The main point is that if you're struggling to find the balance of pleasure and pain, give them the pain that would be necessary if you weren't there.
I would agree with what your dad said earlier. You're definitely in your 70s. You're definitely 70 plus years old. Just listening. just listen to you talk. Like you have to be in your mid 70s right now.
Yeah. You know what really?
It was like gut-wrenching because I recently lost my sister back in May. She was only 40 years old, and she has 2 children who are minors, 15 and 16 years old. And like, you're not always going to be here. So what are you leaving to your children to make them know that, or value the fact that you're not always going to be here? So like everything you said was like, oh God, I'm going to cry.
Wow.
But go ahead.
What I was going to say was really annoying that he can comprehend stuff a lot and just retain information, add on to it. And that annoys me because I can't do that. And like I said, growing up in Mississippi where I memorized school. I did well in school, but I memorized. I didn't comprehend. Yeah. So meaning I would go home and I would read over the material 15, 20 minutes, go back to school the next day, nearly aced it.
Take 10. Yeah.
Another day later, even in the same day, go over the material. I said, I've never seen this material before. Be like, Rick, you just had a test on you. I wasn't comprehending, and I paid for that my entire life. So I'm impressed with him that he's able to comprehend, lock it in, and just elaborate on it, which is really cool. But going back to that communication, I want to say for you guys, I am really proud of what you guys represent. Hello, Black Man. The way you communicate with each other, the way you communicate to your public, it's important that our younger generation and our older generation, like you started out this wanting people to communicate better and get in touch with their emotions and all and the other things you with your journals and stuff, and you're showing people how it's done, and so people are watching. There's one thing I learned in my job, there's somebody always watching. So I always do my best, even though I can be on my own by myself. So I'm watching. Someone will be watching you. So we are watching you, and I want to say thank you guys for being who you are and what you do. So I want to especially thank you because you came on board with Jamie's idea and accepted it, and then put your part in it to improve it. That's an amazing thing that can't be underestimated. So congratulations.
Tell all the time.
So and it comes down to,
this is yours. I said, it's not.
And see, that comes down to communication in a relationship. Another point I want to make here is if you don't have great communication in a relationship, you're going to struggle. So that's one of the keys to having a good relationship is having good communication. And that's a skill that we have to learn and develop and become that. And that's important.
We don't want to be the one to overtake everything. So if y'all have questions for us, it's fine. But you sound like you was about to say something.
Oh, I was gonna tell him what book you're reading right now before we end the broadcast.
I'm reading the Total Mind Makeover book.
All right now.
Listen, so I hadn't come with credit cards up yet. I'm giving myself January 1.
Yeah.
And then I'll start cutting those credit cards with we're impressed with you as well. And I met you when we first talked, and there's a lot more that we have to do. Like you and I still meetings that we need to have. Like we need to work on that so I can help you push and brand and just talking to you and your son and just seeing how far he's coming. Yeah. Like we are raising young adults and like I want to shoot myself right now.
Well, he's 70 years old, so he can talk to me. He's 70, at least 74. So he can tell
me. We have teenagers who we have 2 in college. We have 2 in college, 2 that are juniors in high school. And like we've been so productive in trying to show them or tell them like it's only so much you can do with people who are not in your household. So the 2 that we have in college have been outside of our household, right? So we hadn't had full jurisdiction over them. So we're like, hey, we're not doing student loans, we're not doing debt, like whatever we need to do. Like if you don't have the ACT score, we need to figure out scholarship plans, we need to figure out financial aid. And like we have one who is accepting that, one who is like, I'm gonna do what I want to.
Let me get this $80,000 for
Let me go ahead and get this $100,000, and I'm gonna ask you every day for $55. Like, the struggle is real.
Yeah, that's right.
So, just listening to you and your son talk, it has been very rewarding tonight. We don't want to make this a one-time thing because I want you guys to come on once. I want y'all to be here. So Malik can give our young adult people, because we don't have no young adults on this show.
Malik, talk to them, please. Malik, talk to our children.
Wait. So Malik, are you in a relationship? Let's talk.
Am I in a relationship?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good for you.
I wasn't ready for the accent, so now.
Is that Australian? I don't know what that is. Is that an Australian accent?
Yeah, it's an Australian accent.
How do we sound to you?
Oh my God!
Not like familiar,
Oh,
yeah.
Familiar.
My dad has an American accent.
How many times have you been to Mississippi, Malik?
Mississippi, is it 3 times? 3 times.
Okay, in your life, in 24 years. Okay, cool. So, like I was saying, like if y'all have questions for us, we don't want to be like we are always like willing for our guests.
Okay.
Go ahead. What do y'all got? If you have,
I got a question. One of the things I noticed about you guys is you very consistent. You probably think you're not, but I think you're very consistent.
We definitely don't think. Listen. Oh my God.
Well, compared to me and Malik, you guys are very consistent. How do you tell people or teach people how to take action and be more consistent? I need to know.
Come on.
I mean, blood, sweat, and tears. I had to fight this man behind the scenes. I had to cut him out 2 times a week.
2 times a day. Listen, I am sporadic, right? So I'm a spontaneous, sporadic. Like I would do something 9 days in a row and we'll go 9 months and it never appealed to me, right? And so she was like, what you doing with this? Why you ain't done this? You need to do this. We ain't done a show with this. So I get it. Like I get that poke. I get a consistent poke. My consistency comes from the consistent, like, oh yeah, let's tighten this up.
I am very scheduled and
yes.
And I think it's just because like mentally, I feel like if I'm not on a schedule, I'm not getting anything accomplished. I have no idea where that comes from. Like I don't know, like mentally why I feel that way, but like I need a routine, and I tell that to him all the time. Like whether it's scheduling meals, whether it's ordering groceries, like this year has been one of the most traumatic years of my life, and I know that there are things that I'm not doing that I have consistently done, and it's almost like a state of depression because I'm like, hey, you got to get this done. You got to get this done. Like laundry, dishes. Like if it is you have to. If you don't have a routine, you are not going to get the things accomplished that you need to accomplish. So also writing, like I have to make a list. I have to be like, hey, this is what I have task lists all around the house. These are the things that have to be done every day. These need to be done every 3 weeks. These need to be done every 3 months. So consistency just comes from just a mindset. Like everything you do in life, whether it's finances, what Total Wonder Makeover, whether it's fitness, all those things are a mindset. And you have to put yourself in the mindset that this is what I'm going to do. And if that's like, I don't know what kind of phones y'all got. Y'all got Androids, iPhones?
Both. Yeah, same.
I'm an iPhone user. So like I have to make reminders. I have to put stuff on the calendar.
I do reminders on my phone. Don't be doing that. I put reminders on my phone.
But you have to call into your voice.
Are you guys going to be educating the public a little bit more as you get more advanced in your finance savviness? Are you going to educate us a little bit on that?
You are the educator. You're the one who is paid around.
I don't know where that came from. I'm learning.
You need to come on weekly.
Yeah. Well, I'm still learning, but I can offer some things that I've learned. It's from a book that I'm gonna put this out here now because I think I've told you this before. The one book that changed my life was the Richest Man in Babylon, and that taught me how to, because in life, like in school, they teach you how to get a job, pay your bills, or get out and get a job, but they don't teach you how to save your money, grow your money, and keep your money. And that was we all know how to spend the money. And I was doing a pretty good job of that. And another thing what goes along with it, you can get a job, go up the ranks, start earning more money. Only thing that happens when you earn more money, you just spend more money if you don't know how to do it. So that's the first trap you're gonna fall into when you get a good paying job or you get a pay rise. I think I heard a lady said that she went into the office and got a pay rise. And while her boss was telling her that, before she walked out of the office, she already she was thinking about the bag that she was going to buy in the car lot she was going to. So the minute you get a pay rise, the minute you go into the next, the level, start paying that off. So what I learned by reading The Richest Man in Babylon was that it steps to this. If you want to be successful financially, you got to learn certain skills. First thing is learning how to make your money, learn how to keep your money, then learn how to grow your money, and then learn how to make your money work for you while you're sleeping. So you can do that, right? And it's different. Also learn different things about multiple streams of income. And I went on the path of doing the multiple streams of income. This is all just from reading a book. So I say that reading books, depending on what you put in front of you, it can change your life. Right. And because we're not born with these skills, we have to develop and continue to learn and grow to get those skills. And that's what I preach to the youth. Is once you finish school, continue to learn, continue to grow. Right here. And so that book, I heard some guy said that most people won't buy that book. They won't read it. It's only a smaller book and it's written easy to read. I probably have purchased that book 10 times. And I've distributed out to people that I think is going to benefit. And I had a conversation with my brother-in-law the other day, and I told him when I was home last year, my niece had a birthday, and I gave her a strange gift. And the gift I gave her was The Richest Man in Babylon. I said, I know this is going to be a strange gift, but I'm going to give this to you, and I want you to read it. And I think some 6 months went by. She called me up. She said, I started reading the book. I was like, fantastic. I said, because I know, read that book, and once you read it again, and read it again. So it's important to get the right material in front of us and start educating yourself. That's my message to the youth. What do you think, Malik?
Yeah, I actually have a quick question. So your name is Hello Black Man. And so my question is, obviously you're passionate about Black men or Black people, and through the lens of some struggle that I imagine that they might face, or through the lens of improvement overall. So my question is, what is the one thing that you see, if you could condense it down to one thing, that is hurting Black men the most today?
Dog, man, 85 years old, ask them kind of question.
He gonna throw you in.
Wow.
Speak from a personal place.
What has hurt me, and I think has hurt many men, is one.
That's a 50 Cent song. Many men. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It is the lack of a safe space to trust. When that place is void or that place has been damaged, nothing good can come from it, right? If you don't have a safe place to be transparent, if you don't have a safe space to be emotional, then you're basically damaged goods at that point. At that point, you cannot be your true self. You have to be someone else. You will always have a mask on at that point if you don't have that safe space. What I am trying to create is a small safe space at first, because now you have your journal and you can put those words down, and now you can have those conversations. Once you're able to write it down and dictate and see how you truly feel about something, now it's much easier to have certain conversations. And so now if you find a place to have that conversation, now someone knows you. Not they don't know your favorite food or your favorite football team or your favorite color. Like, those things are just kind of what you do. They aren't who. That's not who you are. That's not why you make certain decisions. So now I can have these conversations, and this person can really get to know me. And now I'm building a bond that goes beyond material things.
Mm.
I have a rebuttal for you.
Okay.
Malik.
Cool.
The question was, what do you think the struggles are in the Black man? See your life today and how life has progressed from where we come from, because we are of a different generation and we've seen things on a different side. How far do you think we as a Black community have progressed, and what do you think needs to change in our community to get us further ahead?
That's a big question. So
I'll be thinking.
That's great. That's a great question.
So I'll just give my initial thoughts and then I'll refine it a bit as I talk. So
Okay.
To me, what I'm seeing a lot of in the Black community is the glorification of vanity.
And
And yeah, the glorification of a very shallow way of living. And so when I grew up, the first kind of impression of an African American Black male that I got was my dad. And then he, to me, when I was younger, was very wise, very headstrong, mentally strong. And then I met my family from Mississippi, right? And I was telling my partner yesterday, the most beautiful people you ever meet. I just got this sense of togetherness, wisdom, and strength. And that, to me, I associated with the Black community was the South in America, family, honesty, integrity, just everyone who I spoke to had something beautiful to say. And I don't see that represented in today's Black community. I understand that it's geographical, like what is in Mississippi is not what is in California or New York. I understand that. But all I'm saying is I have a point of comparison about where the Black community could be mentally and in the collective, wisdom of the people.
Yes.
To where I'm seeing it. And unfortunately, I think the very essence of Old Heads is my answer to you, that there's a disconnect between young people and the lost older wisdom of also the struggle of what Black people went through. Like a lot of wisdom is forged in struggle. Like the whether it be slavery or the Jim Crow era, that pain that was inflicted upon the Black community created a lot of wisdom and a lot of strength for how to get through tough times and so on. And you see this across the world in people who have been persecuted. They produce incredible wisdom, such as all over the Middle East and so on. So, but my point is that wisdom has been lost every generation that we go down, and a glorification of vanity has replaced it. Yeah. So to me, it's about reconnecting with the underlying kind of wisdom you need to operate in the world. And when you take that away from people, all you have to fall on is what you hear in pop culture, that it's fun to steal, it's fun to be vain and so on. So that's my initial response. I would probably give a more a better answer if I had more time to think about it, but that's what hits me straight away.
That is a perfect answer, because you don't even realize the mental telepathy that you've opened up with me, because when I was younger, I was poor. I came from a very underprivileged, very, like, we had porta potties when I was like 4 or 5 years old, but I felt so loved and so safe in that situation. Whereas today,
Let's cut out.
Leave it. They'll come back. Maybe
we cut
time
out.
out. We're thinking on to go for an hour or two.
Yeah, must have.
So hopefully,
Still recording.
Well, guys, if you like what you're listening to with Hello Black Man and Old Head Mindset, make sure you go on YouTube and check us out. Malik and I, we're steady building our brand, and we are trying to broaden our subscribers. So go on there and hit the subscribe button and hit the like button and help us grow.
Yo, our computer went out.
That's all right.
But what I was just saying, like, so, like I said, I felt safer in a more fortitude type situation when I didn't know we didn't have nothing. Like today, everybody has so much, and there's so much vanity. There's so much who has what. I got this, I got that, and nobody is really family oriented like they used to be. So you definitely hit the nail on the head with your response. I appreciate that. I value that you see that you understand that. If all of our young people could understand, see that, because but I'm also a Sexy Red fan, and I like Lil Boosie. So I see both sides of the spectrum. So that was a great answer.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna hold y'all here. We almost at an hour. Do y'all have any more questions for us? And we definitely got to come back, because I got like a trillion questions I've written down.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. Can we do this again?
Absolutely, we got to do this again.
All right.
Like, no doubt.
Yeah,
and we about the little disconnect. We don't know what happened to the computer. It just blacked out on us.
Right.
Thank God.
We
for
held it
the
down.
information.
We held it down while you were
Well, we appreciate that. So y'all go ahead and hold it down again and tell everybody, like, how they can find you, where to follow you, and we're gonna try to make this at least a monthly event for y'all.
All right. Good. Okay. Well, you want to?
Yeah. So just head on over to our YouTube channel. It's our Old Heads Mindset, or Old Heads Mindset podcast. We talk about all things to do with mindset, connecting the young and old, and also we're started to do reacting content, where we'll get our popular speakers out there on the internet and we'll deconstruct the way that they're thinking. Is there anything good there? Is there anything that could be improved upon with this person's mindset? So we're doing more of that kind of content. We also have a website where we have merch. We're going to get caps soon, so we'll introduce that soon. But yeah, just head on over to our YouTube channel and subscribe, and you can hear a lot more from us.
Thank y'all so much for joining us tonight. Malik, Mr. Tillman, Mr. Ricky, I don't know what you want me to call you.
Ricky. Call me Ricky. None of this Mr. Business.
I like Ricky. I don't know why, it just feels good. Mr. Ricky, thank y'all, and
Thank
we
you
are
so
looking
much.
forward
Thank
to
you guys.
No, thank you.
Thank you
international
guys. And
podcast. We'll talk to y'all soon. We got to come on the Australian podcast. Y'all let us know where y'all want us to be guests.
we will. We will. We'll do that. Thank you
All right,
guys.
y'all have a great
Good
day.
evening. We'll talk to you later.